Welcome back. You're watching KTN Morning Express. We are on your money and studio. We are joined by Waithaka Getumia from Centonomy. And we were talking about something very interesting. Yes. How you can curb your spending on some of the things that you don't really need, or some that you need, but there's another way of doing it that's cheaper.
Exactly. So I was giving the example of takeout food. You see that, you know, where you're young execs, you're working every day, you're going to the office every day. It's hard every night to come home after 8 p.m. and then start cooking and thinking about the next day. So what ended up happening is that for my family, we ended up just buying something, along the way. You buy lunch, you buy dinner to sort that out. And so when we tracked for 1 month and realized we're spending too much on takeout food, we said, what solutions can we find? Yeah. So we talked to a couple of friends and we realized, you know what? There's a guy, he's a chef. He can come on a Sunday, for instance, and cook up a storm, whatever you want to be cooked, and he'll cook it really well. Freeze it, put it aside, and every day you have food that you can be able to use. And you're paying the guy maybe 2,000, 3,000 shillings for a week versus the 9,000 shillings, 10,000 shillings, 15,000 shillings you are spending a week on takeout food. So when we did that, we realized, you know what, we're not really changing our lifestyle too much. We're not becoming pishibora, and we're not saying, you see, when we talk about personal finance, and especially at Centonomy, it's not just about tightening the belt. It's about finding practical solutions that can be able to help you to achieve the dreams that you have. We honestly believe that everybody has the ability to create wealth. What usually is missing is the information, and that's where we come in. That's what we're talking about here. So you find simple solutions that can be able to get you to the place that you have. One of the other areas that we find that, we've talked about, for instance, food, lunch. That's one of the things that people don't realize. We've talked about this wonderful tool called the mobile phone. But one of the other areas that there's a lot of lack of control is especially when we go out shopping. If you go out into thank you. Yes. Thank you for being honest. Guilty as charged, I'm hearing.
Guilty as charged.
When you go into a supermarket and you don't have a plan, then those who have put their goods in the supermarket are going to really earn their money. And they're not doing a bad thing, because their aim is to sell as much as they can, and so they're very good at selling. Haven't you noticed the snacks that you enjoy? They're really close to the till. Why do you think that is? Because they realize a lot of people go shopping when they're hungry. So one of the tools that you can use, eat before you go shopping. So you're not hungry. When you go into the supermarket, you'll not pick up that juice, you'll not pick up that thing, unless you really wanted it. You get what I mean? Then you're spending not because you're being forced to in that situation, but you're spending because it's something you wanted. Today I wanted a chocolate. Isn't it a good thing? And sometimes you really just want a chocolate. And so you go find the one that you like. And it will not break the bank, so that at the end of the month you're wondering, hey, a chocolate is 150 shillings, for instance. If you're talking about some of these bars that you're saying, 150 bob every time you go shopping. By the end of the month, it's easy. You could have spent 1,000 shillings on chocolate. And then you're wondering, did I really need to spend 1,000 shillings on chocolate? Or is it simply because I went unprepared? So eat before you go into the supermarket. It's a very good tool to stop you spending wrong. The other tool for going into a supermarket, please, have a list. If you don't have a list, those aisles have been created very well to ensure that you spend as much as you can. There's a reason why milk is on this side and then bread is on the other side. It's so that because every day you need some milk, some bread, the essentials, they spread them out so that you are forced to go in between, and then you'll see, ooh,
I need this. I want this.
That looks like a nice vase, you know what I mean? And I have nothing against the supermarkets. They are doing their job. You do your job about managing your finances. It's so important. Maybe one other example, if you don't mind, about spending. Now, you see, I'll get in trouble for this one, because, it's one of the things that we are all guilty of, especially when you have children. When we teach our children poor spending habits, when we give them money without a plan. So one of the best tools that you can be able to use for this is to give your children money and help them plan for it. Especially when they're going, for instance, into the shopping malls that are coming up everywhere around the city. Haven't you noticed there are shopping malls everywhere?
Everywhere.
Why is this? Why do you think this is? because Kenyans are actually wealthier than they think. You have more money than you think, and who is taking advantage of this? It is those who are able to spend. One other thing that you'll do, when you give them the money, give them a plan. Tell them, this is for your lunch, this is for what, and this is for your discretion. Go and use it like this. And then when they come home, go through, what did you spend on? You did this, you did this, you did this.
Yeah.
Good. Next time, plan for it better. So for your children, please, when you give them cash, even if it's an allowance, if it's payment for work that they have done around the house or whatever it is, ensure that you're not just teaching them the work ethic. Because I think one of the best things about Kenyans is we are hard workers.
Yeah.
Isn't that true?
That's true.
I mean, you'll see guys at Mjengo early in the morning and they'll work till late. And the same thing in any office, you'll find that happening. But we are not very good at saving and investing. So please begin teaching your children as early as possible. And that's part of what we have realized at Centonomy. Start at teenagers, and we teach those kind of principles for that.
Let's talk to young people.
Please do.
Just before we wrap up. Let's talk to young people who are in college, who are just starting their first job, and they are so excited to earn money.
Yes.
Let's talk to that group of people.
And those who have finally got a help loan.
Yes.
Yes, and there's some money.
And there's
in
some
their
money,
pocket.
and it's exciting, yeah?
Plan for what matters to you. Even at that stage, it is so important, because let me tell you this. We teach this in our classes, and we tell you that a shilling today is worth more than a shilling tomorrow, because a shilling today can be invested and it can grow. Also, a shilling tomorrow will have been hit by this wonderful monster called inflation. And inflation causes the fact that, a couple of years ago, we'd buy a loaf of bread, 500 grams for 20 shillings.
Now
500.
it's 50
Now it
shillings.
is 400 grams. They've brought it smaller, and it's 50 shillings. That is the effect of inflation. So you cannot begin to think that I'm going to start later. As a young person, begin, even if it is 10 shillings, 50, begin the culture of saving, because that is what is going to actually give you wealth creation possibilities in the future. And at Centonomy, we've actually realized this. So we've actually started training even teenagers. So we have teenagers over the holidays. When they come in, we are teaching them these principles and telling them, no, begin saving now, even if it's 10 shillings, 50 shillings, and begin thinking. When you get into college, one of the biggest resources that people in college have is time, because you're not in class the way you are in high school. So with that time that you have, can you be able to create wealth elsewhere? See, we've had a huge problem with our last exam, isn't it? Why don't you college students who actually made it into university begin to tutor those who are in high school and get paid for it? Who says you cannot be paid for such a thing? And what other gifts and talents and skills do you have that you can be able to use to create a new source of income? If you can do that, then you'll be in a best place. But the same principles that we've been talking about, track your spending, even in college. Know where every cent is going. Because when you know where every cent is going, then you're able to make decisions on your own. And those decisions are not being influenced by those outside of you. The biggest issue with personal finance is that often it is not personal. We have outsourced our personal finance to everybody else except ourselves. So bring it back home. Take control of your money, and you will be shocked how wealthy you already are and the possibilities for wealth creation going forward.
I was having a conversation with a few friends the other day. We were trying to do this saving challenge where you put something aside every week, and by the end of the year, you will have this. So one of them was saying, I'm not really good at saving pesa kidogo. I don't know how to save pesa kidogo.
Yes.
And you realize that it's not just that one person. There's so many people who view it as, I can't be saving 100 bob, I can't be saving 50 bob because hiyo ni pesa kidogo. I think I'm better when it comes to saving a huge amount of money, which you don't have. So how would you advise such a person?
I would advise them to go and speak to somebody who is wealthy within their circle of influence. The truth of the matter is that we have recognized this across the board. The wealthiest people know where every cent is going. We have had many bankers come through our class, and they have confirmed this over and over. It is those with millions and billions of shillings in a bank account who will come and ask, in my statement, I have been charged 100 shillings here. What was I being charged for? Do you know how many charges you have been given by your bank? Have you gone through? And they are the ones you'll find seated there at the counter with those wonderful ladies and gentlemen who are our customer service, and they'll ask, why was I charged an extra 100 shillings here? The wealthiest people in this world know where their money is going. One of the best ways of finding out about this, go on Twitter and follow some of these people that we admire as being wealthy, even the local ones that are here, your Chris Kirubis and other people. Just follow them and see how they think about their money. You will be shocked. Hakuna kitu kama pesa kidogo. No. There's no small money, because even 50 shillings, if invested over a period of time, can grow to an amount which would shock you. So please tell your friend, hakuna kitu kama pesa kidogo. Just put aside that 50 bob. In fact, even put it aside before it hits your account. One of the best things that we have found is put a standing order. Especially if you're on a salary, just do a check-off quickly so that it quickly goes. You don't even realize the money has come to you. You have saved and you have invested even before everything else happens. And that's what we'll talk about next week. We have found it to be extremely, extremely useful in the way that we go forward. So if you take anything away from the discussion that we have done today, know where every cent is going. And then once you do, make the decisions about what matters to you. Because I assure you, you are wealthier than you think. Wow. The only problem is you don't know where your money is going.
All right, as we wrap up, what do you leave us with?
I think that's the best advice. Track your spending. And if you don't mind, we have a larger discussion about this as Autonomy at our open day this coming Saturday at the All Saints Cathedral. You are welcome to come and see us from 10 a.m. at the All Saints Cathedral, where we're discussing this. It's free. Come and see us. We'll tell you a little bit more about how you can spend your money.
Wow, Waithaka, thank you very much. Very wise words about how to spend money. Waithaka Getumia from Autonomy, thank you very much for coming in. Definitely talking about your money. And as he says, you're actually richer than you think. Just start tracking down your spending. Let's start with a month. See how much you would have spent on certain things after the end of the month, and see whether you can make some changes in your budget and your lifestyle. This has been KTN Morning Express. Thank you very much for joining us. We wrap it up at this point. Up next, we'll be having Worldview, where we'll be taking a look at stories making headlines in the country and beyond our borders. Don't go too far. My name is Akisa Wandera. Good morning.